On paper, a so-called Pedo ASBO sounds like a strict, uncompromising mechanism to slam shut the door on predators trying to access vulnerable children. The official term is a Child Abduction Warning Notice. It's a civil letter handed by police to adults suspected of having inappropriate contact with minors, but these notices carry absolutely zero legal weight. If a suspected abuser breaks the rules outlined in the letter, they haven't committed a crime. This chart shows the scale of their deployment across the UK. Since 2008, authorities have issued these non-binding notices more than 13,000 times. The government continues to defend the practice. Number 10 refers to these letters as an essential first line of defence to keep young people safe. Whistleblowers and the families of victims strongly disagree. They argue these pieces of paper offer a dangerous illusion of police action while leaving children entirely exposed. When a justice system relies heavily on an intervention tool with no legal power to enforce it, is it actually disrupting predators, or is it masking a much deeper systemic failure of prosecute? The initial logic behind the warning notice was to build a paper trail. In a courtroom, a suspect might try to claim they thought a 13-year-old girl was actually 25. An official warning on file was supposed to prove they knew better. The Crown Prosecution Service backed this approach. They determined the notices were highly effective for managing large, complex grooming networks. During a period these notices saw widespread use, the Director of Public Prosecutions overseeing the CPS was Keir Starmer. In 2012, under his authority, the CPS and police chiefs drafted and agreed upon a standardised national template for these warnings, ensuring police forces across the country were using the exact same document. Creating a standardised fill-in-the-blank solution shifted the incentives for local police. When confronted with difficult, resource-heavy investigations, officers had a fast, officially sanctioned way to close the file by simply issuing a piece of paper. That bureaucratic efficiency looked very different on the ground, particularly on the streets of towns like Rochdale. Former detective Maggie Oliver investigated the grooming gangs operating there. Her unit gathered evidence on 97 different abusers committing child rape on an industrial scale. But instead of building criminal cases against those 97 suspects, authorities issued a few civil warning notices. As Oliver testified, the letters were used simply to get rid of a job. This chart compares the usage of the policy to its evaluation. While police issued 13,000 of these notices, the amount of academic or institutional research conducted to see if they actually worked remained at absolute zero. The policy succeeded at clearing institutional backlogs and managing heavy caseloads. It completely failed to protect the children targeted by those networks. The cost of that failure is clear in the case of Georgina Boxel. At just 13, she was groomed by a 25-year-old man who supplied her with drugs. Georgie's parents desperately pleaded with the authorities for help. The official police response was to issue the 25-year-old 2 separate child abduction warning notices. He continued to see her, breaching both notices with complete impunity. Because the documents carried no legal consequences, he faced no threat of arrest for ignoring them. The police never brought any sexual offences or grooming charges against him. At age 17, Georgie died from a lethal overdose of morphine supplied by the very man the state had warned. An official serious case review investigated her death. The report concluded that the failure to protect Georgie wasn't the result of individual police errors. The entire warning notice policy failed because it was built on a weak legal premise. When a justice system relies on toothless bureaucratic templates instead of the full force of the law, the institutions successfully protect their own metrics. The vulnerable are the ones left to pay the price. Thanks for watching. Like, comment and subscribe. See you next time.